Before we begin, it's important to understand one thing. The United States is often seen as a single country with a single culture. But in reality, it's 50 very different worlds stitched together by borders, history, and coincidence. Some states shaped the future of humanity. Others hide stories so strange that most Americans don't even know them. And some facts sound completely unreal until you realize they're true. This video isn't about quick trivia. It's about why each state is unique and how small details ended up changing history, science, culture, or the way people live today. Let's begin. 1. Alabama, the state that helped put humans on the moon. Alabama is rarely associated with space exploration, but without it, the moon landing might never have happened. In Huntsville, Alabama, sits the Marshall Space Flight Center, the birthplace of the Saturn V rocket. This was the most powerful rocket ever built, capable of escaping Earth's gravity and carrying astronauts to the moon. Many of the engineers who worked there, including Wernher von Braun, were responsible for turning theoretical rocketry into something practical. Entire systems that controlled fuel flow, guidance, and staging were designed and tested in Alabama. While astronauts became household names, the state quietly became one of the most important locations in space history. 2. Alaska, the only state you can stand in yesterday and today. Alaska is so geographically massive that it crosses the 180th meridian, the line that separates one calendar day from another. This means parts of Alaska technically exist in both the eastern and western hemispheres. Beyond that, Alaska is larger than the next three biggest U.S. states combined. Its wilderness remains so vast that entire regions have never been fully mapped on foot. Some villages are accessible only by plane or boat, and during winter, the sun doesn't rise at all for weeks. In summer, it barely sets. 3. Arizona, where Earth's history is literally exposed. The Grand Canyon isn't just visually impressive, it's scientifically priceless. The rock layers exposed inside it represent nearly 2 billion years of Earth's geological history. That's almost half the planet's age visible in one place. Unlike most locations where ancient layers are buried deep underground, Arizona's canyon allows scientists to read Earth's past like pages in a book. Entire eras of climate change, extinction events, and continental movement are visible to the naked eye. 4. Arkansas, the only place in the U.S. where you can mine diamonds legally in Arkansas. Anyone can become a diamond hunter. At Crater of Diamonds State Park, visitors are allowed to search for real diamonds and keep whatever they find. Thousands of diamonds are discovered here every year, including rare white, yellow, and even pink stones. Some visitors have found diamonds worth tens of thousands of dollars, completely by accident. It is one of the few places on Earth where valuable gemstones still lie close to the surface. 5. California, a state with an economy bigger than most countries. If California were its own country, it would rank among the top 5 largest economies in the world. Its industries include technology, agriculture, entertainment, and aerospace. At the same time, California contains the lowest point in North America, Death Valley, where temperatures have exceeded 130 degrees Fahrenheit, 54 degrees Celsius. In one state, you can find Silicon Valley, Hollywood, fertile farmland, deserts, mountains, and ancient redwood forests. 6. Colorado, where the air literally changes how you cook. Colorado is the only U.S. state entirely above 1,000 meters, 3,280 feet in elevation. This affects everything, including how food behaves. Water boils at a lower temperature at high altitude, meaning cooking takes longer and recipes must be adjusted. Professional bakers moving to Colorado often fail their first attempts because dough rises differently and moisture evaporates faster. 7. Connecticut, where modern communication quietly began. The first telephone directory in the United States was published in Connecticut. It didn't include phone numbers, just names. There were only 50 subscribers. At the time, operators manually connected calls, and people recognized each other by voice. This small booklet was the foundation for global communication systems that now connect billions of people instantly. 8. Delaware, the state that companies prefer over people. Delaware has fewer than 1 million residents. Yet more than 1 million businesses are registered there, including most Fortune 500 companies. Why? Delaware has business-friendly laws and a specialized court system that resolves corporate disputes quickly. Many companies exist on paper in Delaware while operating elsewhere, making it one of the most influential legal states in the U.S. 9. Florida, where two apex reptiles share the same swamps. Florida is the only place in the world where alligators and crocodiles live naturally in the same environment. These two species usually avoid each other globally, but Florida's climate supports both. Beyond that, Florida's coastline grows over time due to coral reef formation. Unlike most states losing land to erosion, parts of Florida are actually expanding. 10. Georgia, home to the world's busiest airport, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International. Airport often handles more passengers than any other airport on Earth. It functions like a city. Police departments, hospitals, fire stations, and logistics networks operate inside it. Because of its location, nearly 80% of the U.S. population can reach Atlanta in under 2 hours by flight, making Georgia a central hub for global travel. 11. Hawaii, the only state still being created. Hawaii is not just volcanic, it's actively growing. Lava flows regularly add new land to the islands, reshaping coastlines in real time. It's also the only U.S. state that was once an independent kingdom. Its culture, language, and traditions remain deeply different from mainland America, making it culturally and geographically unique. 12. Idaho, a landscape NASA used to train astronauts. Idaho's Craters of the Moon National Monument looks so alien that NASA used it to simulate lunar conditions. Astronauts trained there to understand how volcanic terrain behaves under extreme conditions. The region was formed by massive lava flows that reshaped the land thousands of years ago, leaving behind caves, tunnels, and sharp basalt formations. 13. Illinois, where the skyscraper was born. The world's first skyscraper was built in Chicago in 1885. The home insurance building used a steel frame, allowing buildings to grow taller than ever before. This invention changed cities forever. Today's skylines exist because of an engineering breakthrough that happened in Illinois. 14. Indiana, where speed became tradition. The Indianapolis 500 isn't just a race. It's one of the oldest continuous sporting events in the world. Since 1911, it has symbolized innovation in engineering, safety, and speed. Technologies developed for this race eventually influenced everyday vehicles, from tire design to fuel efficiency. 15. Iowa, the agricultural engine of America. Iowa's soil is among the most fertile on Earth. The state produces vast amounts of corn and soybeans, feeding not only the U.S., but much of the world. This agricultural dominance didn't happen by accident. Glaciers deposited nutrient-rich soil thousands of years ago, creating ideal farming conditions. 16. Kansas. Flatter than you think, but not the flattest. Kansas is often called the flattest state, but it actually has more elevation variation than Florida. Its reputation comes from visual perception rather than measurement. The wide open plains helped shape American frontier culture and modern farming methods. 17. Kentucky, the world capital of bourbon. Over 95% of the world's bourbon is produced in Kentucky. Its limestone-filtered water and climate create perfect aging conditions. Some barrels age for decades, becoming more valuable over time, almost like liquid real estate. 18. Louisiana, the only state with a different legal system. Louisiana follows a civil law system based on French and Spanish traditions, unlike the rest of the U.S., which uses common law. This affects everything from property ownership to court rulings, making Louisiana legally unique in America. 19. Maine, a coastline longer than California's. Maine's coastline is incredibly jagged, filled with bays, islands, and peninsulas. While California looks longer on a map, Maine's actual shoreline measures far greater. This geography shaped its fishing culture and maritime economy. 20. Maryland, where the U.S. national anthem was written. The Star-Spangled Banner was written during the War of 1812 while observing a battle in Baltimore Harbor. The massive American flag still flying inspired the lyrics. Maryland's flag, based on heraldic designs, remains one of the most complex state flags in the U.S. 21. Massachusetts, where American education began. Harvard University was founded in 1636, long before the U.S. existed. It helped shape political leaders, scientists, and philosophers for centuries. Many American ideals were debated and refined in Massachusetts classrooms. 22. Michigan, surrounded by fresh water. Michigan touches 4 of the 5 Great Lakes, giving it more freshwater coastline than any other state. This access shaped industry, shipping, and urban development, especially in Detroit and surrounding cities. 23. Minnesota, more than 10,000 lakes. Minnesota actually has over 11,800 lakes, all formed by glacial activity. These lakes define recreation, culture, and the state's identity. 24. Mississippi, the birthplace of the blues. The Mississippi Delta is where blues music emerged, influencing rock, jazz, and modern pop. This region shaped global music more than most places on Earth. 25. Missouri. The gateway to the West. Missouri symbolized westward expansion. The Gateway Arch represents America's push beyond the Mississippi River. It marked the beginning of exploration, migration, and transformation of the continent. 26. Montana, where the night sky is still truly dark. Montana is one of the few places in the continental United States where you can still experience true darkness. Large areas of the state have almost no light pollution, allowing the Milky Way to be seen clearly with the naked eye. This isn't just visually impressive, it has scientific value. Astronomers and researchers use Montana as dark skies to study celestial events that are invisible in most modern cities. For many residents, the night sky remains a daily reminder of how small human civilization really is. 27. Nebraska, where a river moves sideways. Nebraska. Platte River is famous for being incredibly wide and shallow, sometimes described as a mile wide and an inch deep. Because of this, the river constantly shifts its course sideways rather than flowing deeper. Every year, hundreds of thousands of sandhill cranes migrate here, creating one of the largest bird gatherings on Earth. The event is so massive it can be seen on weather radar. 28. Nevada, a state owned mostly by the government. Over 85% of Nevada's land is owned by the federal government. This includes vast deserts, military testing grounds, and restricted areas. Nevada is also home to Area 51, the military site that fueled decades of conspiracy theories. While the truth is less dramatic than alien stories, secrecy around aviation and weapons testing helped shape modern stealth technology. 29. New Hampshire, a state built on individual freedom. New Hampshire's motto, "Live free or die," isn't symbolic, it's reflected in law. The state has no general sales tax and no state income tax on wages. This philosophy attracts people who value minimal government interference, making New Hampshire a social experiment in personal responsibility and local governance. 30. New Jersey, where recorded sound was born. Thomas Edison built his laboratory in New Jersey, where he invented the phonograph, the first device capable of recording and playing sound. This invention forever changed music, communication, and entertainment. Every recorded voice today traces back to experiments conducted in this small but influential state. 31. New Mexico, the birthplace of the atomic age. The world's first nuclear weapon was tested in New Mexico in 1945 at the Trinity site. This single event ended World War II and began the nuclear era. The desert location was chosen for its isolation, but its impact reshaped global politics, warfare, and ethics forever. 32. New York, the most linguistically diverse place on Earth. New York City is home to speakers of over 800 languages, more than any other city in the world. Entire communities preserve languages that are nearly extinct elsewhere. This makes New York not just a cultural melting pot, but a living archive of human communication. 33. North Carolina, where humans first flew. The Wright brothers achieved the first controlled, powered flight in North Carolina in 1903. Their success wasn't luck. The area's steady winds, soft sand, and isolation created ideal testing conditions. Modern aviation traces its roots to this quiet coastline. 34. North Dakota, America's silent energy giant. Despite its low population, North Dakota became one of the top oil-producing states in the U.S. due to the Bakken Formation. This sudden energy boom transformed small towns into industrial centers almost overnight, reshaping the state's economy and demographics. 35. Ohio, the state that sent humans to space. Ohio has produced more astronauts than any other state, including Neil Armstrong, the first human to walk on the moon. The state's strong engineering and aviation culture helped shape America's space program from its earliest days. 36. Oklahoma, where extreme weather is studied in real time. Oklahoma sits at the heart of Tornado Alley. The state experiences more tornadoes than almost anywhere else on Earth. Because of this, it became a global center for meteorological research, helping scientists understand and predict severe weather patterns. 37. Oregon, a lake without rivers. Crater Lake, the deepest lake in the United States, has no rivers flowing into or out of it. It was formed when a volcano collapsed thousands of years ago. The lake is filled only by rain and snow, making its water some of the clearest on Earth. 38. Pennsylvania, where America was born. Philadelphia served as the birthplace of the United States. The Declaration of Independence and the Constitution were both drafted here. The decisions made in Pennsylvania shaped democracy not only in America, but influenced political systems worldwide. 39. Rhode Island, small in size. Huge at sea, Rhode Island may be the smallest state, but it has one of the longest coastlines relative to its size. Its maritime culture shaped early American trade, exploration, and naval power. 40. South Carolina, a medical first in America South. Carolina performed the first successful smallpox inoculation in the American colonies, long before vaccines were common. This early medical advancement helped save countless lives and laid the groundwork for modern public health. 41. South Dakota, a mountain of faces. Mount Rushmore took 14 years to complete and required extreme precision. Beyond its symbolism, the monument represents America's effort to carve identity into the landscape itself. 42. Tennessee, where American music found its voice. Tennessee is the birthplace of country music, but its influence goes further. Blues, rock, and soul all passed through Memphis and Nashville, shaping global music culture. 43. Texas. Once its own country, Texas was an independent nation for nearly a decade before joining the U.S. That independence still influences its culture, pride, and legal traditions today. 44. Utah, a state carved by time. Utah's national parks showcase some of the most dramatic erosion patterns on Earth. Wind, water, and time-created landscapes that feel almost unreal, drawing millions of visitors each year. 45. Vermont. Powered by nature, Vermont leads the U.S. in maple syrup production, a process deeply tied to seasonal cycles. The industry reflects the state's connection to nature and sustainable practices. 46. Virginia, the birthplace of presidents. 8 U.S. presidents were born in Virginia, more than any other state. This concentration shaped early American leadership and policy. 47. Washington, where modern tech took root. Washington State became a technological powerhouse thanks to companies like Microsoft and Amazon. These innovations transformed how the world communicates, shops, and works. 48. West Virginia, a state built on mountains. West Virginia is almost entirely mountainous, shaping its isolation, culture, and economy. Its geography preserved traditions that disappeared elsewhere. 49. Wisconsin, America's cheese capital. Wisconsin produces more cheese than any other U.S. state. Its dairy traditions were brought by European immigrants and refined over generations. 50. Wyoming, home to the world's first national park. Yellowstone National Park, located mostly in Wyoming, was the first national park ever created. Its protection set a global precedent for environmental conservation. Each state tells a different story. Some shaped science, some changed culture. Some quietly influenced the world in ways few people notice. Together, they form a country far more complex than it appears on a map. If you enjoyed this journey through the United States, remember, History isn't just what happened, it's where it happened.